Hello and welcome to episode 276 of WITM. And Triple H is on his way to the ring. Let's hear what he has to say.
Behold the King of Kings. On your knees, dog. All hail. Bow down to the King.
One moment. Alright. Triple H speaking. Last night at Fastlane, thanks to an unfair, underhanded tactic by Austin Aries to prevent Batista from getting into the ring, the Purity Society won the battle. But rest assured, the Authority always wins. And last night, the Authority won the war. Just like we will at WrestleMania. Andrew and the rest of the Purity Society, they keep coming into the ring trying to win you all over as underdogs, as heroes. When in reality, they completely dodged the fact that ECW was nothing more than an organization set up by themselves to mask their failures and insecurities. But rest assured, after WrestleMania, the charade ends. The charade and the lies come to a screeching halt, permanently. At WrestleMania, ECW and the Purity Society will be shut down. And the next night, on Monday Night Raw, after the Authority inevitably triumphs, I'm going to make them watch as I take all those titles they gave themselves unfairly and I line them up on a nice big table here in this very ring. And I'll take my trusty sledgehammer and I'll smash them all to pieces one by one. Now, I've been hanging out around ECW locker rooms, and it didn't take me long to find three men who are sick and tired of the charade. And now you get to meet them, and they're going to tell you personally just how they feel about the Purity Society. So without further ado, allow me to introduce to you the three men who represent the Authority at WrestleMania 34 to permanently put an end to ECW, to all the lies, to all the charades, to the Purity Society.
Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield.
Seth Rollins starts off speaking. Andrew, it's no secret, I don't like you. But once upon a time, I did respect you. There's no doubt that you are very talented in the ring. But unlike Triple H, who I've had the honor of working with in the past, you don't have the first clue on how to run a wrestling business. You created Velocity, and I thought, okay, maybe this man is doing something right for a change. And I was crowned the first ECW Cruiserweight champion. But then suddenly, you got injured, and decided that you just couldn't handle not being in the spotlight of your own creation. So you bent the rules, decided that for your own convenience, ECW matches are no longer required to be hardcore 100% of the time. And you put yourself in a little four-man tournament facing NXT guys, and then surprise, surprise, you faced me at the next pay-per-view and won the Cruiserweight title, which you've held ever since. I am sick to death of you. I am sick to death of the Purity Society. Promising non-stop hardcore wrestling, promising opportunities for cruiserweights, and then bending the rules so you can constantly be in the spotlight. Well, you're forgetting one very important fact. I am the man, Seth Rollins. And at WrestleMania, I'm going to reclaim my spotlight that you stole from me. Dean Ambrose now speaking. Andrew, remember your very first wrestling match in WWE? Some scrawny kid dressed up like the Joker came to the ring, thinking he could out-crazy the lunatic Fringe. How'd that work out for you? Oh yeah, that's right. I hit you with the dirty deeds and gave you a real scar to go with all that makeup. But still, when you promised non-stop hardcore wrestling, I figured, what the heck, I want in. But then you constantly keep me nice and low on the card, because you know you can't out-crazy me. And then when we do face off, you got your former brainwashed fanboy Hideo Itami in my face the whole match, getting me counted out. Andrew, you can hide behind makeup, you can hide behind your purity society, but WrestleMania, there is nowhere to hide. The lunatic Fringe is coming for you and your buddies, and there is no escape. Now Roman Reigns speaking. Andrew, everyone knows our history. I am the man you beat for the WWE Championship that led to the resurrection of ECW. Every day, that memory haunts me. You took everything away from me, Andrew. I was poised to become the next face of the WWE and had finally reached my dream of becoming a WWE champion. You claim week after week that your goal is a WWE where every man and woman gets an opportunity to prove themselves. But what about the people you've stepped on to get there? The people whose opportunities you've taken away only to promote yourself. People like me. People like even your buddy Corey, who you forced to relinquish his ECW championship, the pinnacle of his career, because it was the most convenient option for you. At WrestleMania, I finally avenge myself. You've taken everything from me, and at WrestleMania, I'll do the same thing to you. Alright, so it is official. The Shield will represent the Authority at WrestleMania 34. It will be representing the Authority, the Shield, and representing ECW, the Purity Society. If the Shield wins, then complete control of the WWE goes to the Authority. ECW will be shut down, and who knows what will happen to the members of the Purity Society, Andrew, Corey, and Austin Aries. But if the Purity Society wins, complete control goes to the Purity Society, and ECW will live on. Alright, so with that said, let's skip ahead and see what our episode 276 in ring action is going to be. We do have, before we do that, we do have a couple new tag teams to go along with real life. They are Beauty and the Man Beast, Heath Slater and Rhino. They are tag team champions, SmackDown tag team champions in real life. And then Cesaro and Sheamus, who just formed in real life and will be getting a opportunity at the Raw tag team titles, currently held by the New Day pretty soon in real life. Alright, so it's time for Velocity. We start off with Finn Balor getting a victory over R-Truth. Charlotte with a victory over Natalya. Asuka with a victory over Paige. and Austin Aries getting a main event against one of the men he'll be facing in WrestleMania for complete control of the WWE, Dean Ambrose. And Dean Ambrose will pick up the victory. If he can do that at WrestleMania to Austin Aries, it will be a 3-2 advantage for the Shield. Alright, we move on to the main ECW card following this main event here. And it is now Andrew's turn to speak. He is making his way to the ring. Alright, Andrew speaking. Week after week after week now, I hear the same excuse, that I use my power as ECW COO to promote the Purity Society above all else. That is simply not the case. And the people who claim that are people who are simply projecting how they feel about themselves onto us. So let's take into account our opponents at WrestleMania, the Shield. Now Seth Rollins, who has had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to win titles in ECW, claims that I bent the rules to become Cruiserweight Champion. That is not the case. The case is simply Seth Rollins defended his title, and he lost, and he is trying to make excuses about it. I lifted the condition that every single ECW match must be hardcore because I have the health and wellness of the ECW locker room in mind. In order for every man and woman to be able to receive opportunities, they must be able to compete. But week after week after week, wrestling brutal hardcore matches, it shortens careers, it causes injuries, and obviously takes away opportunities. I know this firsthand. Now on to Dean Ambrose. He claims that I am afraid of him. The truth is, he just hasn't been good enough to compete with the upper echelon of ECW talent. Once he gets his rank high enough to face the upper echelon, he fails. And now Roman Reigns. Again, it's simple. You defended your WWE Championship, and you lost. Rather than bouncing back, you let that eat away at you, and you haven't recovered since. Here in ECW, there is no hand-picked chosen one to become the face of the company. You earn your keep, and you have not done that. The Purity Society has reigned supreme because we have dedicated everything we do in our lives to becoming the best wrestlers we can be. Many of the others wait for handouts. In ECW, that does not happen. If you work hard, and you wrestle each and every match like it is your last, if you assure yourself that with every step you make you're going to become a better person and a better wrestler, your dreams will come true in WWE. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins all thrived on Raw and SmackDown because the system made sure it was so. At WrestleMania, we proved the difference between three men who were handpicked to succeed and those who dedicated themselves to greatness and success. Believe that. Alright, so Andrew rebutting the claims of the Shield once again, claiming that Andrew bends the rules for his and the Purity Society's benefit. Andrew rebutting, saying that the Shield is simply making up excuses for their own shortcomings and that they are handpicked by the system to succeed, and that in ECW, where opportunities are given simply by wins and losses, that the Purity Society, that the members of the Shield rather have come up short. Alright, so now let's. And once again, I cannot remember who the hardcore champion is. It is Samoa Joe, okay. Alright, so let's take a look at our ECW card. Brock Lesnar defeats Neville. Oh, one thing I need to do is we need to crown new tag team champions at Elimination Chamber. So I'll do a mini tournament. Jericho and the Usos, the top seeds, are safe. Cesaro and Sheamus will face the Club. The Shining Stars will face the Golden Truth. The winners will move on next week to face Jericho and the Usos. And the winners of those matches will face each other at Elimination Chamber for the vacant ECW Tag Team titles. Alright, looks like Golden Truth and the Shining Stars are already facing each other. They are. Just need to set up Cesaro and Sheamus against the Club. Oh, not loading though. Alright, so Golden Truth versus Shining Stars. It's a victory for the Golden Truth. Cesaro and Sheamus versus the Club, or rather Gallows and Anderson, and Gallows and Anderson defeat Sheamus and Cesaro. Alright, so it's going to be Gallows and Anderson and the Golden Truth move on to the semifinals next week. Each team will face either Jericho or the Usos, and the two winners of those matches will face each other in the finals at the Elimination Chamber to crown the new ECW Tag Team Champions. Alright, next we have Hideo Itami with a victory over Baron Corbin. Dean Ambrose defeating Randy Orton. Two Shield members battling each other. Seth Rollins defeats Roman Reigns. And yet another rivalry match between the Big Show and John Cena. And it's going to be John Cena getting the victory. Alright, so we move on ahead. It's time for NXT Special. Baron Corbin defeats Apollo Crews. Emma defeats Carmella to retain the Women's Championship. Enzo and Cass defeat the Revival to retain the NXT Tag Team Championship. And Hideo Itami defeats Sami Zayn to retain the NXT Championship. And I forgot to do the rankings update for ECW, so I'll do that right now. Start off with Finn Balor defeating R-Truth. So Finn Balor moves up 1, R-Truth down to 6. Charlotte defeated Natalya, so nothing changes there. Asuka defeats Paige. Paige moves down to 3. Becky Lynch up to 2. Dean Ambrose defeated Austin Aries, so Aries remains at number 10. And R-Truth move up another spot, and Ambrose move up to 6. Alright, on the main card, Brock Lesnar defeated Neville, so they'll simply switch spots. 2 and 3. The Golden Truth defeated the Shining Stars, so they'll move up to number 3. The Shining Stars move down to 4. The Club defeated Sheamus and Cesaro, so they'll move up to 4. The Shining Stars falling all the way down to 5. And Cesaro and Sheamus fall to number 3. The Golden Truth up to number 2. And then Hideo Itami defeated Baron Corbin. Itami moves up to number 6. Baron Corbin falls outside the top 10 to number 11. Dean Ambrose defeated Randy Orton. Ambrose moves up to number 11. Baron Corbin falls to 12. Orton falls to 32. Seth Rollins defeated Roman Reigns. Rollins moves up to 16. Reigns falls to 14. And John Cena defeated The Big Show. Cena moves up to number 8. Big Show falls to 23. And that does it for our rankings update for the week. Alright, skipping past Raw. Alright, so we have R-Truth versus Neville, with Neville picking up the victory. Hopefully we'll actually get some a match here soon, and not just promos and rankings updates. It's going to be a very long episode. Charlotte defeats Natalya. Asuka defeats Paige. And Seth Rollins defeats Kalisto. Yet again, Andrew not booked for Velocity. Alright. We move on to the main card, where we have yet another promo by Andrew. I was not planning on doing all 3 promos in one episode, but I guess that is the case. So, Andrew making his way to the ring again. Let's hear what he has to say this time. Alright, Andrew speaking. Tomorrow night is the final ECW exclusive pay-per-view before WrestleMania, the Elimination Chamber. There will be a lot of very important matches taking place. We will finally be crowning new ECW Tag Team Champions, as the 2 finalists in the Tag Team Tournament will face each other in the finals to determine the new ECW Tag Team Champions. The ECW Women's Championship will be on the line, as Asuka will be putting her title on the line against whoever the number one contender is. Looks like that will probably be Charlotte. I will, with pride, defend my ECW Cruiserweight Championship. And then inside of the Elimination Chamber, our top 6 singles competitors following tonight's action will compete to determine who will challenge me in one of the WrestleMania main events for my ECW World Heavyweight Championship. Now I've been hearing the Authority talk and talk and talk. I've heard all the comments online, all the skeptics, saying that Elimination Chamber will be the final ever ECW pay-per-view. That what happens there, as well as at WrestleMania, is completely irrelevant. That is not the case. On the contrary, WrestleMania will determine which men and women will get to represent ECW in a true new era, free from the influence of the Authority. Following a Purity Society victory at WrestleMania to truly give everyone a fresh start and a fresh opportunity, a draft will be held between Raw, which will be run by Corey, SmackDown Live, which will be run by Austin Aries, and ECW, which will continue to be operated by yours truly. Those men and women who can walk out of WrestleMania as champions will remain here in ECW as the faces, the benchmarks of this brand going into this new era. ECW will live on. An Elimination Chamber is the first step in being a key component of its next chapter. Alright, so we learned another very important piece of the puzzle. We know that if the Shield wins, representing the Authority at WrestleMania, that ECW will be shut down. We now know that if the Purity Society wins, each member of the Purity Society will control one of the 3 brands, with Corey controlling Monday Night Raw, Austin Aries controlling SmackDown Live, and Andrew continuing to be in charge of ECW as well as Velocity. Alright, and now we go on to the main card. We do not have a WITM match on this card, so our next match will be at the Elimination Chamber, which will either be the 6-man Elimination Chamber to determine Andrew's opponent at WrestleMania, which we will be showing if Corey is involved in it, and then also Andrew defending his Cruiserweight Championship. Alright, so AJ Styles defeats Sami Zayn. And then also we need to make the 2 tag team matches. It's going to be Jericho facing Gallows and Anderson, and the Usos facing the Golden Truth. They already are facing each other. That's good. Don't want to take a match away from Austin, so we'll do this match here. Alright, so the Golden Truth defeats the Usos. They will be moving on to the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view to compete for ECW Tag Team titles. Austin Aries defeats Rusev. And then who will be facing the Golden Truth for the ECW Tag Team titles at Elimination Chamber? It's going to be Gallows and Anderson. So Gallows and Anderson versus the Golden Truth to determine who will be facing, who will be crowned the ECW Tag Team Champions and who will go into WrestleMania holding the ECW Tag Team Championships. Randy Orton defeats Dean Ambrose. Samoa Joe defending his Hardcore Championship against Braun Strowman, and he retains. And John Cena defeats the Big Show. Alright, time for another rankings update before we move on to our go-home pay-per-view before WrestleMania, and possibly, should the Shield win at WrestleMania, the final ECW pay-per-view ever. The Elimination Chamber. Alright, on Velocity, we start off with Neville defeating R-Truth. And it looks like Neville is going to be Andrew's opponent. With nobody really stepping up and Andrew not facing anybody, we'll just go with the number one contender. And so it's going to be Andrew versus Neville at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. To determine, or for the Cruiserweight Championship, to determine who goes to WrestleMania as Cruiserweight Champion. Alright, Charlotte defeated Natalya. Asuka defeated Paige. So it's going to be Asuka versus Charlotte for the Women's Championship at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Seth Rollins defeated Kalisto. And then on the main card, AJ Styles defeated Sami Zayn. The Golden Truth defeated the Usos. Austin Aries defeated Rusev. Gallows and Anderson defeated Jericho. Randy Orton defeated Dean Ambrose. Samoa Joe defeated Braun Strowman. And John Cena defeated the Big Show. Alright, and then also that's it for our rankings update. That means our 6 men competing inside the Elimination Chamber for a chance to face Andrew at WrestleMania for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship will be the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt. The Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. The Man That Gravity Forgot, Neville. The Man Beast, Rhino. The Face That Runs the Place, John Cena. And Andrew's best friend and fellow Purity Society member Corey. Boy, how big would that be? Andrew versus Corey just an hour or two before they do War with the Shield for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship, possibly the final ever defense of the ECW World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. That could very well happen. Corey has a 1 in 6 opportunity of making that happen. Alright, so Elimination Chamber time. See there, Andrew will be facing Neville. And fortunately, we will not get any in-ring action in this episode, but plenty of important action to come to determine the champions going into WrestleMania, as well as Andrew's opponent for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. Andrew, episode 277, Andrew defends his Cruiserweight Championship against the man that already forgot, Neville. Episode 278, Corey will take on 5 other men inside the Elimination Chamber for the chance to face Andrew for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. So that's going to do it for episode 276. Until then, this is Corey, signing off.